Today's video, I'm just going to put one of these smaller airplanes together and show you how to, place them around your layout. These are 1/72 scale, so they're pretty close to HO. HO scale airplanes, then you don't have much variety of airplanes. And I love the airplanes from the World War II era. They're probably my favorite. So I've got a lot of these older kits. You can pick these kits up for dang near nothing anymore. Some of these old kits, they're not the best kits, but with a little work, and they're fine. Especially just to add around a layout, because I've seen other layouts and people have hung planes around over top their layouts and stuff, and it just kind of adds a little something to the layout. I think have some planes like flying overhead and stuff. Then you can do whatever you want, like newer style jets or whatever. These 1/72 scale planes are so affordable, especially the older ones. You can pick them up on eBay for a couple dollars. You could probably get one with shipping less than $10 sometimes, or it'd be like I did one time and bought a whole lot of like 15, 16 of these in a lot for like $40. So it's not a bad deal. And then you just put them together and paint them, decal them, and place them around the layout. If you were into airplanes like I am, and you don't, some people probably ain't, so I don't know if you really enjoy this kind of video or not. And when I put these together, I'm not like some of them guys that you see on the YouTube that really get in depth and make them look really super awesome. I'm not that good. I'm just your average guy putting small airplanes together, so I'm not going to show you how the weather or do any of that stuff. So I got this one right here. It's a Bristol, I don't even know how to say that, but it's an old Airfix kit. And these ain't too bad. They got some flashing and stuff like that. They usually go together pretty good. No big deal. I use super glues, so it's pretty quick to put them together. And they don't have like 10,000 pieces like some of the bigger kits have. So you can put them together in, a couple hours pretty easy. So we can take a look at this one. As you can see, there's really not much. Wings and we have, really ain't much to it. You gotta paint them though. You got the instructions and got decals, which is good. So the first thing I usually do when I open up one of these old kits is get the decals out, and then I'll spray them with a light coated clear. And that clear I use is the Rust-Oleum clear that I use like on my locomotives, my train cars, everything else. I always just use the same clear. And I'll go ahead and take these there, put a light coat of clear on them, because these things are probably older than my grandma. So you need to put a coat of clear on them. That way when you cut them out to use them, they don't fall apart. That helps them stay together. So that's what we'll do with that. And got the instructions. And they're pretty, it's pretty basic. Just about anybody can put one of these together. Now some of these older kits I have are like Japanese or they're not in English, so you just have to look at the pictures, which is what I do anyway. Most of the time nobody reads anything. At least I don't. So you can put the cockpit together. Really, well, you got 5 steps. Really nothing to it. 9 steps. You can probably put this thing together with some super glue and a couple hours. I'd probably spend more time letting stuff dry than I do actually putting them together, because they clamp the wings together, clamp them really good, and let them dry for a good while before I get to the next step sometimes. And then when you put the 2 sides together, clamp those together, let them dry real good for a while. And a lot of times I will paint the planes after I put them together. And I don't airbrush them, I just brush paint them. So I'll go ahead and paint like the cockpit and all that. And when I put it together, I'll paint the cockpit and then put it inside the plane. And that'll be it until I get the plane all put together. Then I'll paint the plane. And sometimes I won't add the glass until after the plane is finished. And on this one, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. I ain't sure. I think I can add it. Yeah, I should be able to add it after it's painted. Because because I clear coat in between them, all I'll do is paint it, clear coat it, add decals, then clear coat again, just like I do my locomotives. That way, it gets dirty or anything, you can wash it off and it won't affect any of the decals or the painting. And I just use the craft paints, brush them. And when I brush it, I thin it down. I just got some distilled water here. I thin the paint down just a little bit and brush it on with a brush. And usually does pretty good. So let me get this thing built, and I'll show you the progress on it. I know it's not really train related, but it's a nice addition to the layout. You know, if you wanted some planes flying around, then it's an easy way to add some character to your layout. You know, they make so many different kinds of planes, helicopters, whatever. Even if you wanted to get like spaceships or anything like that, just something, you know, it's kind of cool. So, and pretty simple put together, so it won't take me but a little bit to get one of these together. All right, everyone, I got most of this thing all glued up here. Nothing fancy. Got me some of these little clothesline pins, the spring ones. I use those as clamps. I got a whole little thing of them over there, coming real handy. And so I got everything glued together and clamped them together so they get nice tight joints. And sometimes with these older models, you know, that when you put them together, you'll have a little bit of a seam here and there, or crack or something. And I fill it in with that Tamiya putty. That's what I got that for. Like I had a little bit on the seam there, right along there. So I just put a little bit down in there. Got to let that stuff dry about all night. It takes a good while for that stuff to dry. But then again, it's a little colder out here in the shop. But that's what I've been doing. I got the tail fins put together there, super glued, clamped together. Also got some little bar clamps that I've got at, I think at Harbor Freight. They were like a couple bucks a piece. These come in handy, especially when you want to do the fuselage, you know, and clamp it together. So those are nice. But you really don't need that stuff, you know, if you use some tape or something, you know. But I get a lot of this from the dollar store. These are, you know, you can get these for a couple bucks. Get my super glue there. It's like $1 for 2 things. And then you sand those edges down with just some nail files. So you can get those there. So, you know, you don't have to go to the hobby shop to get stuff you really need to put one of these together. You can just go to your local Dollar General or whatever and get those, and, you know, a couple bucks, and you'll have a lot of the materials you need. I would say, get you a nice good razor knife though, and the Tamiya putty you'll have to order or get off the hobby shop, of course. But you know, you can always use something else to fill in gaps if you needed to. But I'm not one of those professional model builders that you see like on YouTube, that high detailed and weathering and all that. I mean, it's 1/72 scale. It's kind of small, so I really ain't gonna see it all. Just something to add to the layout, you know, and look kind of good, you know. I'm not no professional at this, and it's a good thing, good idea, I think, to if you want to put some planes around there, you know, an HO scale. There's not much you can get, but 1/72 scale, you can get about all different kinds of planes and put together and add to your layout, from, you know, modern to old biplanes, you know. So whatever era you're wanting to model, you pretty much can find an airplane that fits that era. And it's kind of cool. It adds a little something extra to the layout, I think. But I'm gonna get this up together, and I haven't painted anything yet, so I'll get the wings and everything, get pretty much all together except for the glass. I can put it in when it's done painted and stuff, because if I put it in now and spray it with clear, it'll fog it up. So that's why I do this. Sometimes you have to put the glass in before you know, put it together in some of the airplanes, and you just cover it up with a piece of tape or something. It's no big deal. But I'm gonna get this together. I'll probably shoot it with light coated primer and then start painting it. But once I get it all together, I'll show you. All right, I got this plane all put together. Turned out pretty nice. And then I put a coat of the primer on it. I'll let it dry a little bit, and then I'm gonna paint it. Most of the time with these directions, you know, they come with like basic colors, tell you where they go and all that. So this is the one I'm going to do right here. It's like camo colors, and It says light blue on the bottom side. I may just end up doing a light gray, the granite gray. I think it looks good on the bottom. And then my arbor green, which is what it says. And then I use the mossy green, 2 different greens. So it looks good usually when I do the camo. And I just freehand brush the camo. And it's got like a little picture on how to do it. And so it'd probably be something like that. A lot of times when I paint my airplanes, I just go on the internet and find some pictures of them, of the certain plane I'm doing, and just do it that way. With this one, I'm just going to do like it says here. I'll just follow the patterns, and it'll look good. Then I'll paint the people and the people inside and the cockpit, and the propellers and the guns and all that. So to me, sometimes it's just easier to put the plane together, then paint it, and instead of painting piece by piece, then putting it together, because then you get glue globs everywhere, and you do a little sanding or something. So for me, it's just easier to put them together mostly, and just do them that way. And like I said, I'll add the glass and stuff after I'm all done. And then I got the decals right here. There's probably a couple different ones that I'll use off here. So they usually sometimes give you enough decals to do like two different styles. The directions has got 2 different ones. Which one do I want? They basically look about the same. One or the other, both about the same. So, like I said, I'm going to camo it, because I like the camo. And then paint the bottom side of the granite gray instead of the light blue. And I'll show you as I'm painting here. And when I paint this stuff with the brush, I'll thin it down with a little bit of the water I got here, and just on a plate, and mix it together. That way it's thinner. So you might have to do a couple coats, but this stuff straight out of the bottle is real thick, so it'll hide a lot of details. So I thin it down so I can won't hide any of the details so much. And I got my hair dryer over here, so I'll hair dry it in between each coat, so I don't have to wait on it to dry. I can just do it really quick. All right, everybody, I got the plane all painted. Like I said, I just brush painted it. I put a little bit of paint in my plate here, mix a little bit of water with it, thin it out, takes a few coats for each color, but it doesn't hide the details very much. So you can see, it's pretty cool. And I painted the people a little bit. Didn't get too crazy with the people, because once you put the glass in and all that, you ain't going to see them. So there's no sense of getting all crazy with it. But it turned out pretty good. Some of the seams ain't perfect, but I think it looks really good. So now I just got to clear coat it, and then decal it, and then clear coat it again, and then install the glass and put it over on the layout. So it took me a little longer than I thought it would to do this. And the colors I used, I didn't use those original colors like I showed before. I ended up using, I had a different green that I bought. Crisp green. That was a nice color, so I went with it. And then the granite gray for the bottom. And then a darker green. What was it? Arbor green. That's the darker one. Like I said, I just brushed those on. And I did the gray on the underside first, and then the light green, painted the whole plane, and then went back over with the darker green and did the camo designs, kind of similar to what was on the pictures of the directions. But looks good. So now I'm going to clear it and do decals, and then we're going to place it over on the layout. All right, I've got the airplane all finished. Decaled, final coat of clear, glass put in, painted around the glass a little bit. So it looks pretty good, I think. Like, by no way am I as good as some of them other people who do this, who build those on them videos and stuff. And I probably never will be either. But I do enjoy small airplanes and other models, as you know, as a lot of you people do. And this is just a good way to, you know, add something a little different to your layout. You know, it isn't HO scale, but it's pretty close, 172 scale. It's like some of the ships I got over there are 192 scale. But, you know, when you look at it, you can't really tell. So it doesn't matter. Plus, you can get these things real cheap and tons of different ones. But now I go and put it on the layout. I think I found a spot for it. So sometimes I use brass rod. But, you know, that you don't always need brass rod. Like I said, this is mostly all dollar store stuff I got. And I got one of this right here. And this is one of those, one of them sticks for like, what do you call them, kiboshes or something, where you put all your stuff on and cook it. You can get a pack of these for like $1 or so. And I have a bunch of these. I'm always using them for something around here. And I just painted it green. So then what I'll do is, since this one's not going to be hanging, it's just going to be kind of over the tree top somewhere. So I really don't need a big long one. So find out where it's kind of balanced at. And I would say right in this area, right here, probably toward the back of the wings, be kind of a good spot maybe to drill a hole. So I get my drill bits the same for that, you know, that size, and then just drill a little hole, and I'll stick that in the ground, and then put this on the stick. And you shouldn't have to glue it, but we'll see. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I think most of mine, I don't even think I've glued them. I just drill that hole. And people would be like, yeah, you're putting holes in your models. Well, you know, if I ever got rid of my train layout and wanted to keep my planes, I build all my planes so they're flying, so they can't be set on a shelf nowhere. So if I ever wanted to move one around, maybe hang it from a ceiling later or something, take that putty and just fill in that hole and touch it up with some paint. I mean, no big deal. So that'll look good, I think. So drill my hole out for this to go underneath the plane, and then basically, like I plant trees, just stick a hole, make a hole and put it in there, and it's good to go. All right, over here at the layout, I think I found the spot where I'm going to put it. Let's see. Can't make my mind up. I think I'm going to put it right there. That second batch of trees. Second one's back. So I got my little tree planter tool. Just poke a hole down through there. And I keep my eye on there so I know where it's at. And then my little stick. Well, right there somewhere. Can't find the hole. That's what she said. Well, crap. Yeah, I'm blind, but dang, I ain't that blind. Must be. Let's try this again. Maybe we need to ream her out a little bit. Make it a little bigger. Might be good. All right. Tip number 2. Today is just not a good day, I guess. There we go. And then push it down in there. Sometimes you have to glue them in, sometimes you don't, depending on your scenery. And then I got my hole drilled out right there. Get all the dust off of it from the drilling. And then let's see how we want to do it. I may have to put some glue on that one. I didn't get it leveled as good. So Let me get my hot glue gun, pull it off there, put a little hot glue on there, because that'll hold it in place, but it won't be permanent. So if I ever wanted to move it, I could just peel it right off. So let me get my hot glue gun. All right, here we go again. Just a little bit of the hot glue. Put on there. I didn't let it get too hot because I didn't want it to be too runny. So we'll just let it dry. Hopefully push it down on there. I don't know. Figures. All right, this hot glue that in place. I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'll stick it back in the hole that way. I think that'll be the best. So, starting to work. Except for all them stringy pieces off that glue. I hate that stuff. I try not to use it that much, but sometimes it does come in handy. Now it looks like spider webs everywhere. I'll have to get that off with tweezers. But, flying in circles. So, I like that. Boom. Just got to make sure you get something to prop them up with, like those wooden dowels or something that's strong enough to hold them up. I like the brass rod, but I have a short piece laying around here and I didn't feel like trying to find it. It would probably take 4 days. So I just use one of them. I didn't want it like way up in the, if I had like one of them big bombers or something, I'd probably want to use something a little different than one of them little wood dowels. Probably brass rod or steel rod or something. And you can just paint it like green or something so it kind of blends in, make it look a little better. And now I'm going to show you like my airplanes that are up here spinning. I'm sure you all have seen those. And they're usually spinning backwards and stuff. And I'll show you what I use to make those things spin around like that. It's pretty easy actually. Just takes a few minutes to build the mechanism unit to make that happen. So I've got one left and I just dug it out and I'll show it to you in a second. Now this is one of the spinner motors that I use to make my airplane spin. The only one that doesn't use this motor is the ones that are over the fighter planes that are over the suspension bridge. They have a motor in there that's a little bit faster. So, which I probably will eventually change those to this motor because this is the extra one I have. And I really don't have any room to add any more of those, I don't think. So, I just have an extra one now. And these motors, you can find them online as replacement motors, but what they are for is for Christmas decorations. They come from, what are they, like the reindeer? You see the metal reindeers that have the head that turn back and forth real slow, they're like made out of wire. And they turn back and forth, or you'll see some go up and down. Well, this is the motor unit that they use for those. And they just plug in. So you don't need to run any converters or anything. You just get one of these, and all you gotta do is plug it in and see it spinning there. And it actually spins pretty good. I'll hold it, it'll spin the motor. So it's a pretty strong little motor. It's quiet. So what I'll do is take this piece off. It's just got like a little pin or set key or something screw in there that holds this little lever on, and that just goes through the shaft. And then I'll attach one of those furring strips. I think they're like a 1x2. Put some metal brackets on there and just attach it to that, and it works fine. So Like that one there's a 1x2 on that motor. And what I did was take a piece of 2-inch PVC pipe and made a mount for it to screw to the ceiling up there and hang down far enough where I want it. And then right there's the motor on like I think it's a little piece of 1/2-inch plywood mounted to that PVC pipe with a little bit of L brackets or something and that motor in there. And then same with this one over here, just not as long PVC pipe from the ceiling. And then this one, which is going backwards, and I had a plane wreck too. I got to fix that. One of the planes, they got tangled up. Doesn't hang very far. It was like the first one I built. And then the second one, and then the third one. And then this one, which has two 1-bys on it. Were actually, I think I cut those out with a table saw. And those motors are a little bit faster. But I may end up converting that one over to the other ones. Those ones go a little faster, so they're more like a fighting plane would be or those planes would be a little bit faster than some of the others, but I don't know, I'll probably end up changing it over with that extra one I got. And I tell you, the best place to find these is yard sales. You'll find those old Christmas ornaments at yard sales for people that just want a couple dollars for them. And these motors are worth that. It's just a DC motor with a gear drive that makes it spin slow. And it's got a thing in there that converts it from 110 to 12 volt. So basically it's just like a can motor, a cheap can motor in there on a gear drive, turning at that speed. Or there's probably, I don't know, you just count how many times it goes around and that'll tell you how many RPMs per minute. So it's not very many. And they last a good while. I usually take them apart when I first get them, make sure they ain't all gummed up because they've been sitting in somebody's shed for 10 years. And clean them out really well, make sure they work. And give them some fresh grease or whatever they may need. And then install them. And they're in here. I've had these ones hanging for 3-4 years now. I think at least 3 years. And not had a problem yet. I did have an arm fall off one a few months back where the bombers were, and that was my own fault because I was up there messing with it and I knocked it loose and it came off. And I had to put the planes back together. But it wasn't that bad. It landed on the layout mostly, so they really didn't break any of them really or anything, so wasn't that big of a deal. It still was a pain in the butt. But yeah, so if you guys ever want to do anything like that, that's how I do those. Pretty simple. Piece of PVC pipe and attach that motor to it and run the cord up through it. And I got plugs up in the ceiling, so I can just plug it in up there. I don't have to like hang it down and run it around the wall and all that crap. So that just makes it easier too. And then attach that motor to the bottom. And I painted it all black so it ain't white and sticking out like a sore thumb. So it makes it look better, I think. So yeah. Nice little way to add some realism or just planes flying around, because I've loved building model airplanes since I was a kid, and I think they look cool in here. And then I got my big rocket back here, the Saturn missile. I picked that up at the yard sale too. That's an old actual rocket model kit. So I think I gave like 50 cents for it. It's pretty cool. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Figured I'd just show you about how I do my airplanes with the spinning mechanism that I built for some of them, and just place them around the layout. I think the 1/72 scale is a really good option to use, since there's so many different types of planes you can get, from biplanes up to planes they use today, and helicopters and everything else. And they're pretty close. A lot of these older kits are a little trickier to put together because the older ones don't line up so good when you put them together. Now some of the newer kits you get, man, they're really nice. You go together great and have really good details. But some of the older ones don't. So I just stick with the older ones. I'm not no professional airplane model building guy like you see some of these others. But I just try to make them look the best I can and add them on the layout here. And I've always been a fan of those model airplanes since I was a little kid. That's I think what I started building when I was little, and then I got into cars, and I've built tons of cars over the years, and trucks and airboats and everything. But I was always into trains since I was a little kid too. But when I built the layout here, I thought I wanted some airplanes, so I just used the ones I had over there. So, but I think it's a real nice little touch you could add to your layout, you know. So, but I hope you all enjoyed, and thanks for watching.